Hello world, this is Stefan of Lendrigan Games. As of August 10th, the characters now have eyes. Also, movement is now relatively smoother as all the characters now slide around instead of popping around. Granted, it's certainly not the smoothest it can be, but I'll be more concerned about that when I make walking animations for all 8 directions. An actual issue right now is that sometimes an enemy will jolt back to their starting position and slide again, and that I'll try to fix before the next update. Getting back to the progress though, there's now a character screen to show what all is equipped, and the inventory screen has been reformatted a bit to more clearly show descriptions for items. For this next week, I want to start incorporating mechanics such as chance to hit and chance to block. Start turning this framework into a game. Of course, one of the reasons for that is because I also want to make an action log at the bottom. The one that goes, you strike the basic goblin for 1 damage. The basic goblin suplexes you for 27 damage. You are dead. Your grandmother can't get that lung replacement because you had to get yourself killed and force her into debt to pay for your funeral. How could you do that to your own grandmother, you heartless monster? You asked for this. You chose this. Anyway, if progress on this game interests you, then come join our Discord or even our mailing list because those notifications are more guaranteed to work consistently. Also, if you enjoy hack and slash games, real-time strategies, or roguelikes, come hop into the Discord and shoot the breeze about it. If the rambles interest you, feel free to suggest a topic for future rambles. Even if your idea is actually stupid, I don't have enough topics on hand to outright dismiss it. Now, this ramble is in response to a couple types of negative reactions to the term roguelite. Specifically, though, their responses to elitism within the roguelike community, be it real or merely perceived. The first response is a bemoaning that the strict adherence to the Berlin interpretation prevents the genre from evolving, and the second is essentially, chill out, don't get yourself worked up over fine details. Before I address these responses, though, I need to lay some groundwork and explain from where I'm coming. The main point for me to make is that roguelike is a subgenre, not an entire genre unto itself. Casually simplistically speaking, it's a turn-based hack and slash with procedurally generated levels and permadeath. While that narrow definition does include a lot of games individually, it includes very little variety of games because, as is explicitly in the name, roguelikes are defined by how much like Rogue they are. Change the name to Rogue Clone and not even the connotation changes. I feel inclined to use that phrase more often though because it's harder to muddy. However derogatory the term clone has become, the plumb line that is the Berlin interpretation still measures how much of a rogue clone each roguelike is. With that in mind, I'll address the roguelite complaints in regards to Spelunky, a game that's basically at the center of the debates. In regards to the complaint that the roguelike community does itself a disservice by not calling such a good game a roguelike, the complaint itself, along with the elitism, stems from the idea that being recognized as a roguelike is a badge of honor. Really, though, it's just an adjective. That the phrases turn-based and hack and slash don't describe Spelunky isn't particularly an insult to anything. As for the idea of evolving the genre, as mentioned back in the beginning, that's a proposition I've seen much less frequently but still needs an answer. The answer to that, of course, is why is evolution needed or even wanted? I fail to see why Spelunky can't simply be a Spelunky-like instead of living under the shadow of a game from the 1980s with ASCII graphics. It has enough things in common with Rogue to be a roguelite, but as far as demanding that it be recognized as a Rogue clone, if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. Expanding the gaming landscape as a whole is laudable, but expanding a subgenre in the same way wouldn't evolve it, just dilute it. And that brings me to the second argument against the term roguelite, namely that roguelike elitists take themselves too seriously. Mind you, they absolutely do, but in this particular instance they're right. I do readily admit bias in this one because the casualness argument hit me in the spot where I prefer words to mean things. As nondescriptive as the term roguelite functionally is, it does describe a relationship between two games that is distinct from the term roguelike. Where would that matter? For what I'm trying to do, the distinction readily comes into play when informing the customer. If a customer wants more rogue, what good would it do to tell them that a real-time side-scrolling platformer, known as Spelunky, is a lot like the turn-based and grid-based hack and slash that he wants to re-experience? Ultimately, that more or less sums up why I advocate for using the term roguelite more often and letting the term roguelike remain the pigeonhole that it is. As for whether my own game ends up being a true roguelike, I honestly don't care. Castle of the Winds was like Rogue, but my target is to make this game like Castle of the Winds.